saying men should be dangerous. By dangerous, that implies I should be ready to threaten someone, to hurt somebody.
No, you should be capable of it. There's nothing to you otherwise.
Welcome to the Dangerous Man Podcast, where we talk about how to become a better man, take responsibility for our mission, create value for others, and the many failures and lessons we've learned along the way. Stay dangerous. Welcome back to the Dangerous Man Podcast. This is your host, John Kostohris, joined by co-host
Adam Thooft. What's going on?
What's up, guys? We're going to dive into some stuff here. I actually have a quote from, it's a quote from T.E. Lawrence in a book called The 7 Pillars of Wisdom. One of my favorite mentors has like this book. It's like imagine like a really thick encyclopedia on the bookshelf. Yeah, it's basically the size of it. And I'm like, dang, and it's like one of the original copies, and it's like old, and like the pages are like, I'm like, this is a cool.
So it's a long book.
Yeah, it's good. It's a lot of wisdom, I guess you could say. But this is what he says.
You could smack somebody with it, and it'd give them a decent amount of wisdom.
Yes, that's the hope. I mean.
Yeah.
So let me smack us all with some wisdom here, but for my boy T.E. Lawrence.
Oh yeah, throw it down.
So it says, all men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their minds wake up in the day to find it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dreams with open eyes to make it possible. T.E. Lawrence. 7 Pillars of Wisdom. Boom. I read that this morning, Adam, and I was just like, oh, that is so good.
Oh yeah.
What kind of stood out to you?
I think it's like,
What does that quote mean to you?
the dreamers of the day, and I think what he's saying by that is that there's some people that actually go and do things about their dreams, and they're not just like, because like I feel like the word dream has been like overused a bunch now, where it's like,
Yeah.
follow your dreams, but like when we go back to like what a dream actually is, it's when you're at night and you have a dream
Like while you're sleeping?
Yeah, that's like the classic dream. And I'm like, man, if I followed my dreams, I'd just be running around mazes most of the time. But I think I think most
Running
of the
away from like serial killers.
not necessarily serial killers, but it's just like
Okay, my dreams are.
oh, okay. A lot of my dreams are just like, I'm in a place that's like familiar to me, but the layout of it doesn't make any sense. Like it's like, oh, I'm in my high school randomly. I've had this one before, but it's not like it. I don't know if I've had this one recently, but it's like, oh, I know what the layout of my school is because I've been around the whole thing. And it's like, oh, I turned down this hallway, and just kidding, there's 3 different staircases here that aren't there. And then you go up this one, and now all of a sudden you're in a basement. And then you go into a locker room, and it's actually a bathroom, and it's like a stadium sized bathroom, and there's like way more bathroom than anyone would ever use. And it's just like, this doesn't make any sense, but like in the dream it does.
It's just like this giant maze, right?
Yeah.
Dude, the more you're describing this, so like for our listeners, I'm really into my full-time gig is I do digital marketing, internet marketing, like different website design, and other kinds of business endeavors. But it reminds me of a website. I feel like most people's websites are just like a million tabs of a million pages of a million types of things you could go to, and sequential
you go on
order.
there and there's like 8 menu drop down menus at the top, and you're like, I I just want to find the one thing that I need, and it's like going through a
It's
maze.
just super unclear of like what they're like trying to be like the next Facebook with the amount of content they put on there. It's just like But if you're listening and you're into website or anything, you should build one pagers without any side links. If it's a blog, this is a different story. But anyways, and you should have one clear call to action, not a bajillion of directions they could potentially explore and go in, because it's not going to lead to any direct conclusion. So, but anyways, I just thought it was funny because that's kind of what you see with a lot of bad websites.
Yeah, you should have like a
maze, as you were saying.
Yeah, don't make it like a maze where they're like, "Where's the cheese?"
Welcome to the restaurant, but there's no clear direction of like a host or a place to go or sit. You just have to like
so you have to
walk
wander
through this whole building and find a table.
Yeah, you have to wander around for a little while and then find a host, and then they're gonna wander around for a while and find a table for you.
It might be a different room or building,
and then the waitress may or may not get to you. If she finds you, she will. But again, like
she has to find you, right? Because it's a maze.
Yeah, granted, you're like 4 corridors down and to the left, so we don't know.
Not to mention, she has to go find the chef then. to cook your food.
And the chef, like he has multiple kitchens to cook in, so it really depends on what he's feeling on the day, on where he wants to cook. So then it might take the food longer to get to you.
Oh man, I love it. But yeah, you were talking about dreaming at night.
Yeah.
What a dream is for you.
Yeah. Whereas I think in pop culture now, it's a lot of like, follow your dreams, but except when you do, we're gonna tell you not to as soon as you actually start taking action on it.
Like everybody in your life, everybody in my life, like a lot of different family or friends, like the moment I've started doing things that wasn't like normal or like the normal course of action. Like we've given examples of like university or really anything. When you're older, it's just like, oh, I want to like not work a job and I want to start a business. And everyone's like, don't follow your dream. It's like, oh, I want to go hiking. Or people are like, I want to go, skiing. And people are like, don't do that. It's like, okay, whatever. Everyone has an opinion. That's the end of story.
It kind of almost seems like everyone wants you to follow your dreams until you quit your job and stop hanging out with them.
Yeah, exactly. And gosh, this is it could be a rabbit trail, but I'm going to drop this bomb. If it challenges them on their beliefs and habits and on what they think is possible and on the comforts and the mediocrity that they live in, if it challenges that because you make choices that are different than theirs, then they will get uncomfortable and you want the bucket of crabs? Yeah.
So kind of in a lobster pot that people used to like fish for crabs. If there's one in there in the lobster pot, it can be able to actually like climb out of it.
Out of the bucket?
Yeah, out of the bucket and get out. But if there's 2 and one of them tries to get out, the other one will pull it back in, because that's just how like crabs work, where they want to be like, they don't want to allow other crabs to be higher up than they are.
Dang.
So they want to pull them back down. But yeah, we want to be able to actually we want to be dreaming during the day and not be just night dreamers. Obviously you might have your maze dreams or your night terrors as well. Hopefully you're not having night terrors. That's like nightmares, but worse. It's when you wake up in a cold sweat. That's not very fun. But when you're dreaming during the day, you have to make sure that you're doing 2 things, right, John? And that's being able to, you articulate it pretty well.
2 things. Oh, yeah. Yes. Basically, like, I think this quote comes down to, like, he says all men dream, but not equally, right?
Yeah.
So we already know that everybody has dreams or they dream, but what are the 2 You know what I mean? What are the not equal parts? Like what's unequal here? And so he's painting a picture of two different types of dreamers. One who dream by night and in their minds, and he says, in the dusty recesses of their minds, wake up to find it was vanity. And it's like, maybe you sit in bed and go, oh, it'd be cool. Or
it'd be cool to have a Ferrari.
You daydream. Yeah. It's just like, just kind of like the, wake up, back to reality. Oh, okay. Like that kind of dreaming is kind of what I took that for. And it doesn't really mean anything, but he paints this picture of another type of dreamer, which I honestly, like, one reason this quote jumped out to me is because he actually wrote the word dangerous men into there. And I was like, okay, that's pretty fire. I need to listen. He said,
he used the dangerous word.
Oh, yeah. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dreams with open eyes to make it possible. So kind of, again, the two things that really that breaks down is like, we have to have some kind of definite purpose, which that's a Napoleon Hill phrase. Napoleon Hill was a businessman and entrepreneur and like author, wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. It's a early 1900s timeless classic in business literature. And so he has this phrase called definite purpose. And then the other aspect was more of a, to be able to actually execute on that, we have to have open eyes, and we have to have this clarity of like, okay, what is my dream? And that's kind of the definite purpose. Like, what is my purpose? What is my mission? What are my goals I'm going after?
Yep.
And do you want to expand on definite purpose, or do you have any thoughts on that, Adam? Do you want to contribute?
Yeah, I think like the difference between someone who like has a definite purpose and someone who doesn't, like kind of what you're saying in the quote there, with the people who are dreaming during the night or in the dusty recesses of their mind. I think of like someone who's like in a classroom and they're not really paying attention to anything that's going on. And they're just like, man, having a really nice car would be great because then all of the women would find me sexy,
Oh, yeah.
And like, that's what he's talking about when it says like they realize that it's vanity.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of the time they just want the cool things to impress people so that it can get there's like a different goal that they have in mind. Like, like I want to have a nice car so I can show people that I'm rich so then I can get the ladies, or it's like, no, it's the end goal there. And it's like, it's really like selfish in a way.
Yeah.
Whereas men who dream during the day and have like a definite purpose, that purpose has to be able to drive you continually.
Come on, dude.
So if it's something that's like kind of base level, like, oh, I want people to think I'm cool. As soon as you like try to like go after getting the things that you think will make you really cool, like being able to have enough money to have a nice car, a nice house, whatever, people are gonna like, because in order to go get those things, you have to like stop hanging out with some of your friends maybe because you would need to have a little bit more time. Not to say that you need to like stop hanging out with all of your friends all of the time, but you're probably going to hang out with friends less because you're spending more time doing the things that you need to in order to like make more money. Or
I mean, Michael Phelps, he in about 20 years of training for swimming for he was a 8 gold medal Olympist in swimming from America, USA. Let's go. Yeah. And he basically trained, I don't know, I think he trained 6 hours a day swimming and doing workouts for like 20 years straight. And during those 20 years, you know what? He only took time off from that commitment and that consistency once. Did you know that? It was 30 minutes. He got off one of his swims 30 minutes early to go to like a nephew's birthday party or something. Like that was the only exception he made in 20 years. And it was only 30 minutes less, 5.5 hours that day.
And you wonder why he absolutely dominated.
Yeah. And so that's what Adam's getting at is like literally, and this is, we'll expand more on this another time, but I think the idea from that story is like, we've seen this time and time and time again in all these successful people, athletes, businessmen pick a goal and they literally had to have a singleness, a purpose, a definite purpose, and a focus. And and you'd have to say no to a lot of things that would take your time. Like, like you're saying, like hanging out with people casually like you maybe used to.
Yeah, because the thing is when people dream, I think a lot of people when they dream, they just really like their purpose behind a lot of their dreams is just like, I want to look cool, you know? And that's why, like, if they have to stop hanging out all the time with some of their friends or something like that, there's going to be immediate pushback and they're going to look less cool. And that's why I think a lot of people end up not going after it, because they like lose their end goal or what semblance they have of it, right? Like almost right off the bat when they start chasing it.
Dang. That is so good.
And I think that's why you need a definite purpose. That's something that's like,
yeah, come on.
That doesn't just like go away when you have like hardship. Because if you like, it has to be robust so that you can kind of go through like the challenges of life, the things that are like trying to like kind of take you out. Because without a definite purpose, it's really hard to be dangerous, because people will just kind of push you over because you're not actually like, if you're just trying to be cool, which is, if you think about what it means to be cool, it's really hard to define that properly because it's incredibly vague.
Yeah.
Because it really just means, oh, I want to be like liked by as many people as possible or the highest quality people possible, but
receive satisfaction of approval or people liking me.
But in reality, like, how many people can you actually spend time with and have like good deep relationships with? It's really not that many people. Like, if I tried to have like a really deep good like friendship with like 100 people, and then trying to think about like, how would I schedule out my time to spend time with 100 people?
Yeah.
I would spend all of my time hanging out with those 100 people and I'd do like nothing else.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like, it makes me think of a time when I was in high school, and essentially I basically every single day of the week I would go and hang out with people. In the summer especially, but even the school year, like I was always texting people, hey, where can I go and hang out here and there and do this and that, and like bonfires, and like I just was trying to always spend my time being social. So you can't go saying that just because I'm an introvert doesn't mean I don't like hanging out with people. But I know Adam sometimes that's a misconception. But anyways, I'm not going there. But when you talk about kind of what's your motivation, your desire, or I'm trying to remember how you framed it, Adam, but there's essentially external desires and motivations and internal. Mm-hmm. And so you could ask someone, what's your goal? And it might give an external, like, I want to make $10,000 a month. Or they'd say, I want to, I want to have, I'll use the example you gave. I want to have a really fancy car. It's like, okay, external goal or desire. Okay, cool. But then when you get to the internal, and that's like, okay, well, why? And like your example you gave, well, they probably just want to look cool to their friends.
Yeah.
They want the status. They want the recognition. They want, you know what I mean? But all of a sudden you stop hanging out with your friends. Like, and this is the example you gave. All of a sudden, does it really matter that you look cool? Because who are you looking cool for? So it's like, all of a sudden, maybe you actually don't really want that car. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? So there's this weird balance of internal and external desires. But
you don't want that car as much as you want to hang out with your friends and have them appreciate you.
Exactly. And if I have to do a lot to get that car and I lose the friends, then maybe I actually don't want the car.
Yeah.
And so kind of my experience with that was I realized when I was older, probably I was about 22 years old, I realized, oh my gosh, I pretty much just wanted I had this like this obsession, this addiction to needing the approval of others. Every single decision I made, every single, opinion I had, whatever was like, what do I want to eat? Like, what should I do next year? Or like, should I play this sport? Or like, what job should I take? And it was just like, I had to like ask a million people for their opinions because I was a slave to their opinions and approval of me. And I was afraid of picking something that would go against that. True story. And that basically ruled my life and my decisions and all my mental capacity and my energy. And it's crazy because over the last 2 years, I basically realized that motivation, thought that motivation was junk, and realized that I actually don't want to live that way because that's not true freedom.
So you threw the junk in the trash and got a definite purpose.
Hell yeah, I did. That's the best way to say it. And so it's like, okay, do I want a cool car? Sure. Is it my definite purpose or my biggest goal? No, it's more like a bucket list or like something I'd like to have because I think it'd be kind of cool. But like, quite honestly, like my definite purpose has much more to do with the impact I want to have. Like when I die and I'm at my funeral, I'll be there, but will I be there? Okay, maybe I should have said that differently. When I die and people come to my funeral, then what are they going to say about me? Are they going to say that I was an inspirational leader? That like, is the room going to be packed of people that lives were changed because they met me or heard me speak, or they, I built a business that served them in a way that was changed their life forever. Or, were my kids there, where people were like, man, every time I was with him, I wanted to like be a better father. And some of the things he did in his home with his family, like I took notes, like are people going to say that about me? You know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, my definite purpose is more like a pie, and I have slices of the pie, and they're all important. They're different. Like I want to be a great, I want to be a great athlete, and I want to be strong and muscular, and be able to run marathons and hikes and like do through hikes, and I could go on and on about my goals, but like there's different sports and business. I want to have a successful multi $100+ million business a year business, and I want to have an impact there on those people, and I want to I want to have a family and be a good father. Like there's all these pieces of this pie, and I want all of those to be a part of my life. And I think all men who are driven, who are dreamers of the day, who are dangerous men, actually have some type of ideal that they want to achieve, they want to become. It's a journey of becoming. And I think when we have these internal desires are much more driven, I think, in my instance, now, instead of what people think of me or their approval, now it's much more, okay, like I want these things for a lot of reasons, but there's going to be a lot of motivations, but it's not because I want people to be like, wow, you're so cool, John. It's because I want to like have an impact. And I do want people to say I'm cool, but it doesn't really matter that little friend group I had in high school, what they say anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's on a larger level. It's on an impact level. It's on a legacy level. And knowing the things that I would do and the lives I'd change and the milestones I would hit along the way.
Yeah. I think that's the goal, is to actually have more of a definite purpose, like you were saying yours there. And I think like the temptation can be, oh, I don't have a definite purpose. Like what am I supposed to do? And the thing is
yeah,
take
us home, Adam.
Dreamers of the day will actually use like reflection to kind of, get their radar on their definite purpose, so they can get closer and closer to it.
Yeah, that is. I'm gonna stress what you just said. Yeah,
because
that's good.
You're not going to be able to know what your definite purpose is just by being like, I want it to be this. That's like,
no.
It's going to take weeks and months and years and hours of reflection over that time to really understand your definite purpose. Because you can like kind of have an idea of what your definite purpose is, but then you have to actually understand more of the fullness of your definite purpose. And I think that will kind of come out as you make steps towards it. like I said, like
Yeah.
find it on your radar and get closer and get that dial pointing towards it. So you're kind of dialing in on your definite purpose through reflection and taking actions towards that. But without like reflection and without like making a plan, it's really hard to actually like know where your definite purpose is. Like on like an old school like radar where it has like the little line that goes around and then like beeps when it runs into it. You taking action and doing reflection is that line going around.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing that, you're not going to be able to find your definite purpose.
Oh, that's so good, dude.
So you gotta just keep the reflection going and keep the action going so you can find your definite purpose and get closer to it.
Wow. That is so good. Yeah, it's really simple, guys, because it's kind of really simple as far as this framework goes. And so we want to give you those tools to do that. If you want to learn more about how to maybe do some more reflection and goal setting and allow the radar to go around on a practical level, we did episode 11, Setting Dangerous Goals, where we get into Grant Cardone, a multi-billionaire and a real estate mogul and successful salesman and business owner and coach, author. He's given his routine he's done for like 20 plus years on how he sets goals and how he just allows himself to dream and kind of just allow himself to you know what I mean? Like for that to evolve and for him to think and discover.
How he dials in on the dream radar.
Hey, that's the language, how he dials in on the dream radar. So get to episode 11, Setting Dangerous Goals, and you can take a deeper dive on some practicals there. And don't be like everybody else who just sits around and is a dreamer in the night and in the dusty recesses of their mind, but be a dreamer of the day, be a dangerous man. And to do that, you have to take action with clarity. And you can't have clarity if you don't have that reflection to give you that clarity. So commit to both of those. Commit to being on the front end of being great, of becoming great.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want to do that, then you got to put the work in to think and find your definite purpose. And with that said, you have been listening to the Dangerous Man podcast. Join us next time. And until then, stay dangerous.